Welcome back to another NFL season here on Perks Recap Podcast. With me again this year is Al. Are you ready for this?
Darn right, my man. Woohoo, let's go. Week 1 is upon us, and I can't freaking wait.
In a lot of ways, I can't quite believe it because it came up quick.
The older I get, the faster it happens.
Yep. And it's going to be another one of those years where we're going to blink. It'll be week 4. We'll blink again. It'll be Thanksgiving. And we'll blink again. It'll be over.
Totally, man. Totally. That's perfect. That is perfect. Absolutely, man.
All right. All right. Well, Uh, for those of for those people that are joining us for the first time, there might be some new people. We do 2 podcasts every week. We review the previous week on a podcast, and then on a separate podcast, we preview the next week. And during the preview, we will give predictions for every game and a score. And we usually try to pick one upset, like upset special. Um, And we also will hold ourselves accountable when we do the review podcast, when we go over our picks from the previous week, what we got right, what we got wrong. And we do that every single week, 2 podcasts every week.
That is correct. We are a big point of pride for us is holding ourselves accountable because very few out there in the sports world do.
Yes, yes. All right. So, little difference this year is my buddy Joe. A lot of you know Jordan from our baseball podcasts. His father, who is my best friend since high school, freshman year, sophomore year, something like that. And so it's been a long time. Me and him have been friends for like 30 something years.
That's awesome.
Um, yeah. So he gave us his picks. He was going to come on. The problem is we do this during the day. He works, and he's just not going to be able to
Well,
get on that often. I don't think.
and
If he
darn him
can't,
for being a responsible adult.
yeah, exactly. So we'll see what we have to do, and if he can get on it once or twice, that'd be great.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
but in the meantime, he did send his picks, and he said he'll send them every week, so we have a third person picking. And if he's any good at all, he'll probably be better than both of us.
That would not surprise me. And like I said when we brought him up before, since Jordan is a unicorn, I'm calling him the Datacorn.
The data corn, yes, exactly.
I love it. It'll be cool to have some other picks on the show, man. That's really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, well then let's do it.
I'm in, baby. All right. Now, how do we? Is this where do I do the? Do I lead
This,
the?
this is your lead. Yeah,
Okay.
the preview one you lead, and the review one I lead. Yep.
Okay, man. All right. Well, boy, what a way to start off the season, given the teams we root for, my man. We got Thursday night Cowboys at Eagles. What a way to start the season.
Yes. Yes.
And we certainly have some. I think we should probably just talk about the trade that happened since the last time we were on air before we even get into the game. What do you think?
Well, yeah. Yep.
So go, you take it, man. Your team, you gotta hit this one first.
Well, the good vibes that I had in Dallas, that I was hearing about how Schottenheimer was running camp, and the fact that Dak is healthy, and I have a really good feeling about the offense, which I still do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but now the defense is a huge problem, and I do like the fact that it looks like Diggs is probably going to play somehow. I was expecting him to like week 4 or 5, and now they're saying he has a good shot to play tomorrow night. Him and Bland, which from last year hardly ever happened.
Oh, that's huge, man. Definitely, and very pleasantly surprising for you, no doubt, because I didn't see that coming either.
Yeah. But guys like Overshone and those guys, they're not back yet. They're not ready. So they still actually are dealing with some injuries on the defensive side. And now you got, I don't know what they've got for any kind of pass rush, to be honest. So the pass rush, I got to see what they have. Got to see the rookie Azaraku. I've got to see how this defense plays, if it's any better against the run, because they were one of the worst. And this is not the team you want to go against when you have problems against the run. Although historically, for some reason, they do okay against Saquon Barkley. I don't know why, but they don't ever really get gashed. But they could definitely get gashed tomorrow. Maybe part of that reason they didn't get gashed was because of Parsons. Who knows? But yes, in case you're living under a rock, yes, we're talking about the Micah Parsons trade and the impact. So for me, yeah, the Cowboys, the outlook is not quite as bright for me, and I got to see how they play tomorrow. I do think that they will be able to score, especially because I think Philadelphia's defense, while it will still be good, probably not as good as last year, but still be really good and possibly top five, top three still. But I do think it might take some time to mesh. So getting them week one might be a good thing. So I think for sure Dallas will be able to move the ball on them through the air. Maybe not on the ground because they can't run the ball either. But through the air, I expect a big day from Dak, and I expect some points to be put on the board from the Cowboys. But
Right?
it is Philadelphia. I was initially saying Philadelphia. I was going to pick Dallas to win the game outright. Then I said I'm going to pick Dallas as my upset pick, and I didn't do either one now.
Okay.
After this trade and so many questions, I went with Philadelphia 34-27. So a very high scoring game. The only way Dallas can actually win is if it's like 42-35. Like it has to be a total shootout. That's the only way they can win. I don't think they'll be able to pull it off, but I do have them getting 27 points, but it's just not enough because they're not going to be able to stop the Eagles.
Right on, right on. That's very fair, man. Absolutely. Yeah, the Parsons trade was fascinating, man. And the return we didn't specifically mention was the two first round draft picks and Kenny Clark, who is a solid defensive tackle and may help the run defense.
Yeah.
Obviously a net loss, big time player wise, but you at least got a functional NFL player in return for sure. Um, the Everything you said, I agree with as far as what you have to look at with Dallas's defense. I mean, is the rookie going to be a real player? Is Sam Williams and Dante Fowler Jr., will they be able to give you anything? Will they be able to get double digit sacks combined? I'm not, that's far from a lock. Um,
Right. Well, Sam Williams again, he's another guy who missed all of last year. Right at the beginning of the year, he was out for the season, and the year before, he was pretty good.
yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how he bounces back and what he is at this point in his career. I got to pull up the stats from 2 years ago because I forget what
I,
he did.
I think Overshone is going to take. He'll be taking one of those spots when he comes back. Hopefully, still has all that speed because he was fun to watch
Oh, I mean, geez, if as long as because he's had two injuries now, and
on both knees. Blew out
um,
both knees.
yep, and because he looked like a dynamic player. So hopefully he's some semblance of that still, and it didn't isn't a career turner. Because I'd hate to see that because he was really dynamic. And So yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how the Dallas defense start. Now, a huge help to that is going to be if those quarterbacks can play multiple games together for the first time.
Yeah.
If that happens, that helps their pass defense immeasurably. They'll it looks like they're going to have some other struggles to deal with for sure, but that would be huge. Now, the Eagles. The Eagles have some interesting things this year. They're still a very good team. They lost some key players. They lost Milton Williams, defensive tackle, who I think the New England Patriots overpaid by $50 million. He had 1 year of 5.5 sacks, didn't have more than three other than that, and did it beside one of the best defensive tackles in football. And he's not going to be playing beside him in Detroit, in what is it, New England.
Yep.
Um, Josh Sweat, very good player, but he's an 8 sack a year guy. He's not an all pro, so I'm not devastated by his loss, especially given the up and coming pass rushers that the Eagles have in Nolan Smith and Jalix Hunt. And I think the most immediate impact they're going to feel from their losses is, why am I blanking on his name right now? The cornerback that signed with the Steelers. Um, he was really good for the Eagles. He's 34 years old.
Oh, Slay?
Darius Slay, yes. And because he's still very good, first of all, and more importantly, their replacement, they've had a hard time finding a replacement. They haven't even named a starter yet, unless it happened in the last 24 hours, between Adoree Jackson, who was a minus player for the freaking Giants last year, and Jacorian Bennett, who was a semi decent player for the Raiders for a few years, and the Eagles traded a defensive tackle for him late in the preseason. So they don't like what they have. So Kaylee Ringo was basically given the opportunity to win the job. He was a third round pick from Georgia a couple years ago, and he's 6'2", and I was really rooting for the guy, but he played so badly that he's not even in discussion for the job at this point. So that's their big hole is corner, and going against the Cowboys, that could be a glaring weakness that they can exploit in Week 1 with the Pickens and Lamb combo coming at them. So that keep your eyes on that. A big deal is Landon Dickerson is not going to miss any time. He had a knee injury either early in the preseason or late in training camp, and it looked like he was going to miss a few weeks at least. Well, this guy's freaking superhuman. He came back, had surgery, he was back practicing a week later. It's crazy, this guy. And oh, sorry, Craig.
No, I just said okay.
Right on.
Um,
And then the big thing I want to see is Jahad Campbell, who fell to the Eagles all the way at the bottom of the first round after being projected mostly in the top 15, sometimes even higher. He fell to them because of injury concerns, ended up not missing anything but the OTAs, and ascended all the way to the starting lineup by week 2 of the preseason. He is now your starting. They give 2 starting linebackers in the Eagles the way the Eagles do their lineup. So it is him and Zach Bond starting beside each other, and they use Campbell and in a major pass rushing role from the linebacker position. The few times they deployed him in the preseason, cannot wait to see what this guy is in the NFL. Now, all that being said, the Eagles are definitely the big favorite in this game for a reason. I'm going to pick them 31-20, but I can't wait to see where their defense lands this year. They have in my opinion, either the best or one of the top 3 defensive coordinators in football, no matter how you slice it.
I agree.
In Vic Fangio, and their new offensive coordinator, I cannot wait to see how it works out, because we saw what happened a couple years ago when they went with an unknown offensive coordinator. Now this guy's getting rave reviews. Who knows? Everybody loves their guy until they don't.
Right.
So we'll see. But the big issue on offense is Tyler Steen is the new right guard. They lost Mekhi Becton to San Diego. I really like Steen. He played a decent amount last year because Becton was dinged up a lot. He was a third-round pick from Alabama a couple years ago, and I think he's going to be just fine. So I don't expect a major issue there at all. Eagles 31-20.
Yeah, I think if it's more of a spread, not a close game, it's definitely going to be in the Eagles. Um, the game can definitely get away from the Cowboys. There's no chance the Cowboys blow out the Eagles, but there's a chance the Eagles blow out the Cowboys. So like I was saying before, the Cowboys have to keep it close and make it high scoring. That's their best option. I have them coming up short, as I said. And I could definitely see a score like 31-20 for sure. It might even be like 31-13 at the end. They get a gimme touchdown, garbage time touchdown, something like that. I
Yeah.
could definitely see that as well. For Joe, his pick also Philadelphia, and he's got it even worse than either one of us. 34-17.
Oh, let's go, Joe.
34-17.
I like it. Welcome to the show, Joe.
All right. I'm ready to move on if you are.
Let's do it.
Okay.
So,
Brazil on Friday, right?
is that Brazil? I forgot it's in freaking Brazil because the Eagles got stuck with that freaking Brazil thing last year. You're right. Um, yeah, man, and we got the Chiefs at the Chargers. What a great couple opening games here, especially. I mean, this one's a real banger.
Yeah, I wish the Chargers were a little healthier. Slater's hurt. Actually, I think they got a couple other injuries too. Um, but the Slater injury is big, and I would not be surprised if Kansas City kind of gives like has like an FU moment to everybody else, like an FU kind of a year. Like everybody's down on them. They got blown out in the Super Bowl, and I think they might have like an old time, not old time, but first couple of years Patrick Mahomes kind of year, where Mahomes goes completely bananas. Because now that Rice is back, when he does come back, they'll have their full complement of weapons for the first time in a while, and I think I would not be surprised at all if Mahomes has a year like he had like 3-4 years ago, rather than the last couple of years where he had down years. That's just all there is to it. The team had kind of down years; they didn't look all that impressive, and he didn't. I don't necessarily believe that'll happen. I want to see it, but I just want to put that out there that I wouldn't be surprised if it happens and we got a couple of like 380 yards, 4 touchdown days out of Mahomes. But like I said, I want to see it, and I wouldn't predict it in this game anyway. So I have Kansas City winning a tight one. I don't know what the condition of the field will be because last year it was awful. So I'm going 23-20 Kansas City with a win, but my upset pick is the Chargers.
Okay, and wait, what was your score again?
23-20 tight
Oh,
game.
okay, love it. All right, well, very interesting because the this is also I picked the Chiefs 24-23. I
Okay.
also picked the Chargers as my upset.
Are you kidding me?
No, how about that?
Well, I love the Chargers this year. I really think they're a playoff team and they're going to be good. I saw some picks having them win the division on some prediction stuff. So people are on board. It's just funny that you picked the same team.
Of all the ones, and I literally had there were like four that I could have legitimately picked. There's one I circled and then crossed out and went with this one, which I'll bring up later when we get to that game. But yeah, so and I agree with a lot of what you said, man. The I will say though the big difference this year to me with the Chiefs is what you said with the wide receivers, especially when Rice is back. Now he is out for six freaking games from that suspension, so that's not nothing. But the hugest difference is if Josh Simmons, their rookie tackle, who has looked really good by all accounts, but you don't know until they really play, if he is for real, it shores up what has been a massive difference the last couple of years. They have had awful tackle play. They tried to patch it with guys that didn't make sense when they signed them, and none of them panned out, not surprisingly. And I'm really curious to see where this lands because it looks like Simmons is a player, and if it is, I think that as much as the receiving core being because once Rice is back, it's the best receiving core they've had since they traded Tyreek Hill. And those two things combined equal 4,500 yards easily from Mahomes in my mind. So we'll see. We'll see where it all lands. But I'm with you. I think a big uptick for him this year and their whole offense. And another big factor too, by the way, is they have a healthy Isaiah Pacheco, which they didn't have even when he came back last year. He was never right. And I mean they were getting by with Kareem Hunt, who is still a decent player, but he's maybe you could give him a B minus as far as related to the rest of the NFL running backs at this point. He's slow as dirt, tough as nails, but slow as dirt.
It's the ghost
Um,
of Kareem Hunt.
exactly. He was their starter for half the season last year. So yeah, I think their offense is due for a big upswing. Um, and The Chargers are pretty healthy, except for Rashard Slater, which is massive. They moved Joe Alt, their stud rookie from last year, to left tackle, so that should be fine. But they've had to bring back Trey Pipkins to play right tackle, who was the starter before they drafted Alt and went to the bench after that. So yeah, we'll see where that lands. But I like both teams. I think both teams are going to win at least 10 games this year. And I'm picking the Chiefs, like I said, 24-23. If this was at home, a real home game for the Chargers, my pick might have been different. So I only picked the Chiefs by 1 point. So maybe I would have gone Chargers. But given that it's not really a home game, I'm definitely taking the Chiefs, and I'll take the Chargers as the upset pick.
All right, makes sense.
Sweet. Okay. Now moving
Oh,
on to Sunday.
Joe.
Oh,
Joe
go ahead. I'm
also
sorry.
picked. Yep, he picked Kansas City as well. We all close scores. He picked 27-24.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Nice. Wow, we're all within at least 3 points.
Yep.
That's great. All right. Cool. I didn't mean to forget about Joe there. I'll try not to next time. Now moving to the Sunday slate, we got the Dolphins at the Colts. If you want to take that.
Oh man, this is a tough one. This I went back and forth on this one a few times.
Yeah, and by the way, let's mention real quick, Daniel Jones won this job.
Yes, he did. I am praying to the football gods that he is awesome because that would just be so funny for the Giant fans.
Oh, wouldn't it be great?
And I wouldn't be surprised if he is.
And healthy.
Yeah. So I the vibes coming out of Miami, I am not a fan of. I did not pick them to do well this year, and this came down, and I kind of think of the Colts as the same kind of a team, similar. Not similar in terms of how their style, but in terms of record, I could see them at the end being very close to each other, one game within one way or the other. So if I have that mindset for this game, it just came down to a home team. So I went with the Colts, 24-20.
Right on, right on. And that I understand that logic entirely. And in fact, I'm going to make when I break this down, it's going to sound like I should have picked the other team than the way I break this down. But I'll give you the pick first. I'm going Miami 27-24. Don't love it. I don't love it at all. But
Yeah,
I
I
have
don't
a
love my Colts pick either.
yeah. I don't know how you could love picking either team this game. But Daniel Jones in week one, I want to see it before I pick it. And I would love if your scenario came true, but what we've seen from Daniel Jones is spotty at best. He had one pretty good year, and that pretty good year he threw 15 touchdown passes. So this guy is an interesting guy. He beat out Anthony Richardson, which isn't saying much because Anthony Richardson was horrible last year. So and he can't stay healthy even more than Daniel Jones, which is saying something. So I don't know. I don't know if we've seen the last of Anthony Richardson as a starter. Somebody's going to give him a shot to win a job somewhere along the way because of the talent he's shown. But it's just wild that he couldn't beat out Daniel Jones, man. What I want to say about the Colts and what's going to make it sound like I should have picked them, and maybe I'm going to if they win, I'm going to be like, you idiot. Shane Steichen has done a heck of a job so far with a team that has had one of the worst quarterback situations in football for the last 2 years, with Richardson's spotty play when he's in and his lack of health. He's gone 9-8 and 8-9 the last 2 years, and in those 2 years, he's had Gardner Minshew start 13 games one of the years, and Joe Flacco starting 6 games another one of the years. That's
Yeah.
pretty impressive with those kind of situations. And so I don't know, man. I don't know what to make of that team. I don't know if Daniel Jones is going to bring some sort of stability, which sounds weird to say because he's one of the least stable quarterbacks in football. Miami, talk about unstable. They did that weird trade where they sent just a salary dump, basically, where they sent me and my names, the great cornerback and the tight end who finally busted out last year for
Njoku?
not in
No.
Joku. Right idea. Dang it, I'll find it while I'm talking. But they got back Minka Fitzpatrick, who's a heck of a player. Oh, they gave up Jalen Ramsey and It's the tight end everybody was waiting to bust out for years. Jonnu Smith,
John Smith.
who finally looked awesome last year, and then they traded him, and you know who they replaced him with? A 34-year-old Darren Waller who took off all of last season.
Yeah, that's weird, and he's not going to. I can't think he's going to have any kind of impact.
And talk about people who can't stay healthy. Even when he was in his prime, he couldn't stay healthy. So what a
Right.
weird move. um, Jalen Wright is out, who I really liked coming out of college last year. He's Achan's backup slash in the rotation guy. But I like Achan enough that I don't think that hurts him a ton. Achan and Tyreek Hill were both banged up and expected to play. I'm going to roll the dice on Miami. They seem to be better in the early season, but I don't know, man. I'm just rolling the dice here and doing a coin flip. Dolphins 27-24.
All right. Joe is also with the Colts, 24-17.
Right on. And you guys are probably smarter for going with the home team.
That's what it came down to. Like I said, I view these teams as by the end of the year they're both going to have like 7, 8, 9 wins in that range. And when I think they're that close, I just pick the home team.
Yeah, totally fair. Totally fair. All right, enough about that one.
Enough about that one.
Okay. So next game, we have Steelers at Jets. The Aaron Rodgers era begins and the Justin Fields era. The Aaron Rodgers era begins in Pittsburgh. The Justin Fields era begins in New York.
I think this is going to be Aaron Rodgers. Uh, is going to want to put a hurting on the Jets. I don't think he'll be able to really put a hurting on them, but I do think he's going to be able to win the game. I got to see the Jets gel. I think it's another. They're going to be a team kind of like the Eagles' defense specifically, where I think as the season goes on, they're going to get better and better. And at the end of the year, as I was saying with the Eagles, I think the Eagles' defense is going to be a top five by the end of the year. It might take some time to get there. And the Jets, I think, will be better as the year goes on, and they get that. Because I do like the coach. I love everything that Aaron Glenn has been doing and saying. So I think they'll be better by the end of the year, and they'll be in a much better position. But first game, I think in Rodgers with the vendetta probably that he's got in his head, or who knows what's in his head really. Um, so I'm going Pittsburgh with the road win, but I don't think it's going to be what Rogers is envisioning. You know what people are envisioning, where it's like a blowout. I think it's going to be closer. I got 21-16 Pittsburgh, and but Joe disagrees with me. He's got Pittsburgh, but it's 30-16. So he's got
Oh,
a much bigger spread, but still went with Pittsburgh.
well, that's fascinating because my score, I'm just going to jump to it right away, is 23-16.
So we all picked 16 for the Jets.
Isn't that funny, man? Different numbers for Pittsburgh, but everybody picked 16 for the Jets. That's great.
Oh, I just assumed that you picked Pittsburgh. Is that correct?
For sure. For sure.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I'm with you on everything you said. The one thing I want to add about Pittsburgh, they had a really interesting offseason, especially for Pittsburgh, because they're not usually an aggressive team, but they had a lot of big additions. We talked about that in our preview show. I won't rehash the whole thing. But one thing that they didn't do is let me put it this way. They added DK Metcalf. Heck of an
Yep.
ad. Love DK Metcalf. That's a great ad.
Yep.
Um, but after that, now they have Calvin Austin, who is a very promising young receiver at number 2. I like him. But you know who their receivers are after that? Roman Wilson, Scotty Miller, and Ben Skowronek.
Yeah, and DK can get banged up here and there and miss some time sometimes. And if he does, their passing game is not going to have anybody.
It's brutal, dude. It's brutal.
It's going to be Fryermuth, right? Is he still there? Is he still
Yes,
the tight end?
Fryermuth
Yeah.
is their tight end still. They have, wait a second, but they have, okay. Now, this is where you get that mitigated somewhat because they still have Fryermuth, but they also have, they traded for Jonnu Smith.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, in the trade. So they have two.
And they actually have three because I gotta find it. But they have that big 6'6" gigantor tight end. Oh, dude, I gotta find his name. Yeah, man, he is a
Gigantor.
gigantor. What is his name, man? Rawlings, Donnell. I'll find it, man. I'm getting worse with names the older I get. Um, what is
But
his
they
Darnell
got
Washington,
okay.
who's their third tight end, but this guy he's played some and he's been decent when he played. He's 6'7", 264.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, so they're super solid at tight end. They are as weak as their depth is at receiver. It is that good at tight end.
They're
But
gonna have to go 2 and 3 tight end sets if there's a problem with DK.
100%. And I think they'll be doing a ton of two tight end sets anyway, just because it's a strength.
Right.
Now the Jets. I love Justin Fields more than most. I still don't know if he's going to be a great player in the NFL, but I'm rooting for him, and I like what I've seen so far. I'd like to see him get a real shot in this league. I don't know if the Jets is the place to be to get it, but he's going to play, so he's getting a decent shot anyway. The Aaron Glenn coaching era begins. What's he going to be as a head coach? I have no idea. I like him. He looks slick all day long on the sideline, and I'm rooting for him. But who knows? Very good coordinator. Who knows what he'll be as a coach? But I think they're going to stink this year. Regardless of how good a coach Aaron Glenn is, that roster's not great. So we'll see. But I'm going to take Pittsburgh in a 7-point game in Week 1.
All right. Sounds good. So we all have
Okay.
Pittsburgh. We just have different scores for Pittsburgh, but the Jets the same one.
If they actually score 16 points, that'd be really priceless.
That'd be great.
Now, moving on, we got another. This was another tough one to pick for me. I'm curious to see where you guys came out on it. Panthers at Jaguars.
Yeah, this was tough. This was tough. I went back and forth, but I landed on the Panthers because of how high I am on them for my regular season picks for the whole season. Make sure you guys check that episode out if you missed it. We did a predictions show for the whole season, and I'm high on Carolina. I probably went a little bit too high. I inflated them a little bit too much, where to the point where I think I had them winning the division. I don't know if they're going to do that, but I think they're going to be much improved. I liked what I saw out of Bryce Young at the end of the year last year. I liked everything, a lot of the changes that they made. That the rookie Ted McMillan is that
You got it.
he's yeah, Ted McMillan. I love the connection that they've apparently got. Jacksonville, I don't know what Jacksonville. They seem like they should be better than they are every year, but every year it seems like they disappoint. I don't get it really. We were high on them a couple of years ago, or when we first
Yeah,
started this podcast, we were both high on them, and they kind of crapped the bed. And then last year we were kind of like, let's see, and they did it again. So I don't have any faith in them, and I love where Carolina's headed. The arrow's pointing up for Carolina. Um, so I went with Carolina as my official pick. Carolina 27-21. Joe disagrees with me. He went with Jacksonville 23-16.
okay. Yeah, I'm going to go with Joe on this one, and I just did the home team thing on a game that was tough to pick. This was one of the other ones I considered for my upset. Not the one that I actually went so far as to circle, but I definitely considered it. I went Jags just because they're the home team. I'm very curious to see what Liam Cohen. He's one of the more exciting coaching hires this offseason. I mean, he's the guy that made Baker Mayfield a star in the NFL after being a complete washout.
Yep.
So I can't wait to see what he can do for Trevor Lawrence. If he can do anything close to what he did for Baker, it's going to be really cool to see. Because Lawrence went from a once very promising young quarterback to he's got to play at least pretty well this year, not to possibly be out. And look at if Jacksonville finishes, with 6 less wins, they're going to be looking to draft a quarterback and replace him in all likelihood. So he's got to play well this year. This has to be the year for him to turn it around. So I can't wait to see what happens. You got Travis Hunter, who is officially playing both sides of the ball,
Yep.
more on offense than defense. But we're going to see how that actually lands in Week 1, which I can't wait to see because it's unheard of in decades in the NFL. Not since Deion Sanders would take a couple snaps a game on offense has this happened much, you know.
Right.
And they're talking about doing it a heck of a lot more than Dion. So I can't wait to see where it all lands. I'm not as high on the Panthers as you, but I understand where you're coming from, and I do agree to a certain extent that they are very interesting and possibly team on the rise this year. So I can't wait to see where this game ends up. It's going to show a lot about both teams, I think, in the first week. So I'm going Jags 19-17.
All right. Nice and close.
Yeah, because I don't like it.
A lot of close. We both have a lot of. We all do actually, Joe too. We have a lot of close scores. A lot of because there's lots of uncertainty. Week one's a tough week to pick.
It is, and you can tell from the point spreads because the Vegases and the odds makers are every game is not every game, but the vast majority of games are 2.5 and 3 point spreads because nobody knows what the heck is going to happen, and not all these games. Some of these games are going to be 14, 15 point score leads or wins. You know what I mean? So it's week 1 is really fun to try and figure out because you just don't know what the heck's going on.
I agree.
All right, man. Moving on. Now, this one is not going to be a close pick for me. I'm curious to see where you came out. Cardinals at Saints.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot, unfortunately, for the Saints. Man, they got Alvin Kamara, they've got Chris Olave, and that's all they've got.
Yeah,
And their defense might be a little better, but they're one of if not the worst team. I think I actually do have them as the worst team in the league. There's a legitimate chance they might not win a game, and if they do, it might be one or two wins, maybe three at the most. I think in that range.
yeah.
Um, yeah, so just horrible. So just kind of by default, I picked Arizona. Um, Arizona's another team though that I think people get excited for, and then every year they really don't do much. When was the last time they won the division?
Oh my
When was the
God.
last time they were in the playoffs? But every year there's like a little bit of helium with them. Um, I don't see it again this year. This year I see as another year, kind of like last year. We'll see the growth of Marvin Harrison Jr. Um, Hopefully, Kyle Murray can stay healthy. That would be nice if he can stay healthy, see a whole season from him, and maybe they could surprise. But it would be a surprise for me. But regardless, New Orleans is that bad. I have Arizona, but I don't have a huge score. I have 17-9,
Right on. Right on.
and
Yeah,
Joe has a huge score. Joe has 30-13.
ooh, okay. Okay. Well, Joe and I are very close. I have the Cardinals 30-10, even a little bigger than Joe. And that's less about the Cardinals and more about the Saints. I just think the Saints are that bad that even a team that I think is going to be pretty mediocre can destroy them.
Poor,
um,
poor Kellen Moore.
well, it's his dumbass fault for taking that job, man. He should have stuck with a winner in the Eagles and waited one more year to get a better job.
Exactly.
Oh man, yeah, because I see him flaming out after a year or two. If they go winless, he's going to get 1 year and be right out of there. Um,
Yep.
but this is the same thing I just said about Trevor Lawrence applies to Kyler Murray this year, or on the Cardinals, I should say. He has been one of those guys that has been very promising at times, mediocre at times. He played 17 games last year after not playing a full season the 3 previous seasons, and put up 3,800 yards, 21 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Nothing that you can be like, oh, this guy's awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
The big key is, does Marvin Harrison Jr. ascend this year? Can Kyler Murray be the guy? Is he as good as we thought coming out? And can Kyler Murray be the guy that can unlock it? And I don't know. I don't know the answer. But I do know that I like Kyler Murray a lot better than I like Spencer Rattler.
Yes.
So I'm taking the Cards big. Two things I want to mention about, or three things I want to mention about the Cardinals, and I have nothing to say about New Orleans because you said it all. Um, Josh Sweat debut. They stole him from the Eagles. I always liked Josh Sweat a lot, but he's not a huge sack. He had one season 3 years ago where he had 11 sacks, and that was a heck of a year. Since then, he had 6.5 and 8. He showed up big in the Super Bowl, and he's a clutch player. But they've spent a lot of money on a guy to get 7 sacks a year on average the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Um, I think he's a good player. We'll see what a difference he can make without a stud defensive line to give him single coverage, single cover blocking. Another fun guy they signed this offseason, and he's one of my favorite players going on for 15 plus years now, and that is Calais Campbell, who will enter this season at 39 years old. And
Nice.
and the dude can still play. I've talked about the average or the annual value that Pro Football Reference uses, and check this out. Josh Sweat last year had 8 sacks and had an AV of 8. Calais Campbell, in his age 38 season, playing for the freaking Falcons, who suck, uh, had five had 5 sacks and an AV of 9.
Wow.
Yeah. So this dude can still bring it. So the addition of the two of them could really improve the offense or the defense for them this year. The last thing I want to say about the Cardinals is you and I both projected Will Johnson, the cornerback from Michigan, to go in the first round. My buddy Brad Hampton and I, who watch the draft almost every year together for the last 20 plus years, 25 years, kept calling on him to be picked every pick for like 10 picks last year, and it didn't happen. He finally went in the second round of the Cardinals. Guess who didn't miss any time in the preseason after all these injury concerns? Will Johnson. This dude's going to
Yep.
be a stud, and he's going to help them out, and they got him in the second round. So their defense improved immeasurably. So more so than I'm a Kyle Murray guy or that Marvin Harrison is going to be a 100-catch receiver this year. I think the defense helped them improve is going to help them improve a little bit this year and maybe make them a 500 team this year. So we'll see.
All right. Yeah, that's I did not realize their defense was going to be that much more improved. I would have probably given them a better score. But that's all good stuff. That's great stuff.
Right on. Thank you, sir. So, all right, now we move on to our division and a game I can't wait to. I hope I get to watch it because the Eagles won't be playing, and I have the freaking ticket this year, so I am watching everything. Um, the Giants at the Commanders.
Yes. Okay. Um well, first of all, take the under, the first half under if you can. The under overall I think would be good. And as I said before, the Giants, the first half, if you can bet half by half, take the under in the at halftime every time, because I think their defense is that good. I think their defense is going to be probably top 10, and I think their defensive line is not one of, I think it is the absolute best in football. Um, but the problem is on offense, I don't know what they're going to be. I don't know what they're going to do. And already, Andrew Thomas is hurt and he's not playing.
Oh my God, I didn't catch that. You kidding me? I just looked like 2 or 3 days ago and he was fine. What happened?
I don't know. He's not playing.
That's unfreaking believable. That guy. He is
Let, let, let,
unbelievable.
let me
Fragile
confirm.
Fred, man. That guy is fragile.
Let me just confirm. Oh, wait. Now he's going to practice.
Improving. But I mean, I didn't even know about the injury at all. So that's news to me.
I thought he
Uh,
was out, but now they're saying they're not sure. Let me see if it's improving. Yeah, I got that as well.
oh, here's a report from 40 minutes ago. Let's see. Oh, his status for the game remains murky. And this is just from 40 minutes ago.
Uh,
Big.
Sorry, I lost you for a minute. I had a call. I had to turn it off.
Oh, no worries. I found a report from Big Blue View from 40 minutes ago, Craig, and it says his status is still murky for the game on Sunday.
Okay, I thought he was actually out. That's what they said yesterday. So maybe he actually will play. But regardless, I mean that guy, if he could just stay healthy, because the problem is with them is for some reason when he goes out, that entire line can't play, and I don't understand why. Um, like when he's in there, they don't have a good offensive line. I understand that, but when he's in there, it's not as bad, obviously. But when he's not there, it goes from being mediocre, lower mediocre to absolutely like one of the worst in football. And I don't, it takes a complete nosedive. They are terrible. Um, Russell Wilson can run around a little bit. He scrambled a lot of times in Seattle because they did not have good offensive lines a lot. So he's kind of used to that. Um, and you know how I feel about Washington this year, that I don't think they're going to be nearly as good as everybody thinks. But they're at home. I can't pick the Giants to win this game. Maybe they can get better. I do believe in their defense or their defensive line. I do not believe in their secondary, but their line is very, very good.
No
So
doubt.
I think they're low scoring. I think it's a low scoring game. Again, if you're betting, I would take the under for the whole game. But if I could, the under for halftime would be really good. And I'm going Washington in a low scoring 22-16. And Joe also took Washington and he went 17-14.
Well, he
So
likes the under too, big time, no doubt.
and also real quick too, for some reason I don't know why, uh, the Giants always beat Washington though. It's weird. It's weird. They won a couple years ago, and uh, where they won both games, and they at least win one every year. But I'm not picking this to be the one.
Yeah, I'll consider it at home, not on the road for sure. Although the Commanders won both last year.
Right.
But that was a especially good season for them and an especially bad season for the Giants. So I don't know if we can count on that. But yeah. So listen, I agree with almost everything you said. The Giants, they have one thing they can hang their hat on, and that's that defensive line. Uh, Everything else on their roster is subpar, except for Malik Neighbors and their defensive line. Um, and Malik Neighbors, by the way, is looking like he's going to be one of these guys that's banged up every week all the time. He's
Right.
already questionable for week one after being questionable all year last year. And he's awesome. So I mean, I think he's one of those guys that plays hurt and it's just going to be a thing. But his toe thing is still a thing. He's just one of these guys that you're going to have to, if he's on your fantasy team, it's going to drive you nuts because there's going to be game time decisions and questionables. But he's a great player, so it's all good. But I'll give you the score 26-9 Washington. I'm under two. Yeah, the Andrew Thomas thing, man. He played 10 games in 23, 6 games in 24, and he's already questionable for week one. So, I mean, it's unbelievable. And the reason that when he's out, the reason they suck even exponentially worse is because he's the only guy who's a very good player on their offensive line. Everybody else is mediocre at best. So it's fascinating. On the Commander side, it's really interesting. Austin Eckler is a starting running back again. He's
Is
the
he?
guy.
Is he?
Yes, he is, because they traded Brian Robinson to the 49ers 2 weeks into
Yeah,
the
but
preseason.
everything I'm hearing is that kid is going to start. The one with the
Right now, he is listed as the starter on the depth chart, and I have a very hard time believing a seventh round draft pick is going to start week one.
what's his name? Coakley or Cook? I forgot his name.
Javoy Krosky Merrill.
There you go. That's him. Uh,
Yes.
People like in my draft, Austin Eckler did not get drafted, but Merrill did.
I think that's crazy for Eckler not to get drafted. I'd pick him up on the waiver wire immediately, especially if you're in a PPR or a half point PPR. I don't expect him to go back to 250 touches, but I think he's going to lead the team in touches for at least the first few weeks. If this Krosky Merrill guy is the real deal, that's going to change because we've seen how they like to use Brian Robinson, and Brian Robinson was okay, not great. But man, I'd be very surprised if he can take it fully from Eckler early on. We'll see. Maybe he's absolutely the real deal, but I just have a hard time believing it. We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. It wouldn't surprise me. I've been wrong before. But
Yeah, we'll see. I guess somebody did pick him up because I'm looking right now in my league and he's not there anymore. So somebody did pick him up.
yeah, somebody should have. I mean, he's especially early in the season. I think you're going to get good usage out of him. But the biggest news for them is that Terry McLaurin signed his extension since we did our season preview. That's massive because they do not talk about teams that don't have great receiver depth. That is for sure the Commanders. Noah Brown is I think they're listing him as their number 3 receiver generally, but he's out week 1. So it's going to be really interesting to see what Debo Samuel brings at this point. Can he play more than 10 games? We'll see.
Yep.
So yeah, but all that being said, I think the Commanders even if you're right about them being much worse than last year, I still think they are way better than the Giants, and I'll pick them 26-9.
Right on. Yeah. Right there with you.
Right on. Okay. Another interesting game, Buccaneers at Falcons.
Oh, another tough one because it's in Atlanta.
Yes.
This one was tough. Another one I went back and forth on. Well, I didn't really go back and forth on, but one I really credited on the score more than anything, and it really doesn't matter. But um, Tampa Bay has been getting talk about helium. I've been seeing people picking them to win the Super Bowl. Like that, people are on board with Tampa Bay this year. I was watching CBS Sports, the whatever that 24 hours network is, whatever it is. They were doing an NFL preview, and the guy on there, I think it's Pete Prisco. Is that his name?
Yes.
He has them winning the Super Bowl.
I don't see it, but I mean, I can't. They have been a very solid team the last couple of years in a very bad division. So they do have a pretty bad division to run over. So I don't
Right.
know. I see the case for them getting a good seed in the playoffs, maybe, but I don't know, man. I don't see them as a Super Bowl team at all, personally.
Yeah, me neither. But I was kind of surprised at that. And then I was like looking at some other people, some other things last night or the night before, and other people have them going deep in the playoffs, like having really really big years. So either way, I am on board with them to some degree, probably not to that degree. So I have them winning this one 28-19. Atlanta, we got to see Penix for, more than what we saw last year. I want to see it first before I really get on board with them. Of course, you got Bijan, which he's going to be awesome. Be interesting to see what he can do against Tampa Bay. And yeah, 28-19 Tampa Bay, and Joe has 27-20 Tampa Bay. Uh, do you agree?
I do. I had a much bigger score before I found out 2 things. One, Chris Godwin is out for a few games, and their starting tackle, Tristan Wirfs, is also out week 1. So I had 33-21, and then I made it 24-21 Bucks.
Makes
Um,
sense.
yeah, now they do have a Mecca Igbuga, their first round draft pick, to take the number 2 spot from Godwin while he's out, and he may just take that forever from Godwin. We'll see. Their their receiving core has a chance to be absolutely insane when Godwin is healthy. They have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and a first round draft pick. I mean, it has a chance to be epic. So we'll see how that lands as the season goes on. The only other thing I really want to break down about this game at all is Atlanta and their pass rush. Can they finally improve their pass rush? I looked up this stat because I've been ripping on their pass rush and I wanted to see what the actual numbers are. Check this out, dude. Starting in 2021, Atlanta had the 32nd ranked, 2022, the 31st ranked, 23, the 21st ranked. That's the best in the last 4 years. And 24, they went back to the 31st ranked pass rush.
Oh, geez.
It's almost impossible to be that bad on purpose. Now, they drafted 2 pass rushers in the first round with Jalen Walker and James Pierce, neither of whom were good enough in the preseason to be starters, though. So they will be in the rotation. But you hope when you take 2 guys in the first round that they're clearly starting material, and they weren't for a team that has 0 pass rush. So does not jump off the page as awesome for them. So can they get at least into the top 20 in the pass rush for the first time in 5 years? Let's see.
Interesting, interesting. Yeah, we'll have to see. That's been their bugaboo the last couple of years, and maybe they fixed it, but maybe not if
I
they're not
can't wait to
starting.
see, man. Yeah, because they have just had pathetic pass rush, and that just kills any hope of their corners playing well. So yeah, it's going to be a big deal for them. That's going to be the difference between them being, if Penix is the real deal, it's still going to be the difference between them being a playoff contender or not. Even if Penix is really good, they can't contend in the playoffs if their defense isn't better. For the
Yep.
playoffs, not in the playoffs. They can't contend for the playoffs.
Here you go.
Oh, all right, my man. Cool. Now, moving on. We have the Bengals at the Browns. And if the Bengals are ever going to improve their early season woes, boy, did they draw one of the best teams for that, huh?
I think the NFL did this on purpose,
It's very possible, man.
like to just give Cincinnati a little bit of a break, like early on in the year, because we've talked about it. It's every year Cincinnati cannot get off the snide. They cannot get out of their own way early in the year. It takes sometimes longer than 4 or 5 weeks. Sometimes didn't it last year take to like week 7 or something before they actually got going?
Yeah, absolutely.
They end up missing the playoffs. I think they're going to make the playoffs this year. I think Joe Burrow is going to be the MVP, as I said in that predictions podcast. And I think finally, they're going to win their opener because Cleveland is one of the worst teams in the league. It'll be them in New Orleans contending for that first pick. By the way, how interesting would it be? I know they say he's not coming out, but if Arch Manning comes out and he goes to New Orleans,
That would be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool.
that would be kind of
Although
cool.
the way he played against Ohio State, he might not even be a top 10 pick.
Right, exactly. By the way, I think that's why the Cowboys made the Parsons trade.
I heard that theory, and it's a very interesting theory, and I see it. But boy, that's a lot of moving parts to get that done.
Well, they have 4 first round picks in the next 2 years. I wouldn't be surprised if they trade all 4 of them to move up to number one and get them.
It would be possible, but I don't know where the fourth one came from. I know obviously they have the. Oh wait, you're talking about their two and the two they got in the trade, right? It just made
Right,
sense.
that's
Yeah, yeah.
for you.
So unless the Cowboys really suck, none of them are top 20 picks.
Chances are no.
So I mean, it's possible they can't even get it done with 4 picks. So it's an interesting gamble to make on a big fat maybe. And again, Arch looked like a second round pick at best in that Ohio State game. So now I
Yeah, he
expect
did
him.
not look good.
He looked awful. He had 37 yards through 3 quarters.
Yeah.
Now,
All right, so back to this game. So anyway, yeah, basically Cleveland, you got Joe Flacco again. I can't believe it.
unbelievable.
And how do you not pick Cincinnati in this one, even though it's on the road? So I go Cincinnati, but again, I got to see them do well, like play well early, and I'm assuming they won't because so far that's all we've seen is they won't play well. But Cleveland is so bad that I think even Cincinnati not playing well, they will win the game. But I don't have a big score. I have a 19-14.
That is very fair. You want to throw Joe's pick out before I go?
He does believe they're going to score big. He has it 38-17.
Wow, I love it. I love it. Wow. All right. Well, I'm more on Joe's side than yours, but listen. This could look stupid because they have set an unbelievable precedent for sucking in the early season. But the Browns are so bad. The Bengals, I just can't believe that they can't break this freaking thing that they have in the early season against the Browns. They are loaded. They are absolutely loaded on offense. And I just can't see them not scoring some points, man. So I'm going to go Bengals 30-12. There's 3 things I want to throw out. One thing against me and Joe on our score is their starting right guard is out since for Cincinnati, Lucas Patrick. That could be a factor. One thing for our side of it is in all of us picking them to win is Trey Hendrickson got a raise. Now he didn't get his big extension he was looking for, but he got something crazy like a 18 or 20 million dollar raise for one season. So that's enough to make him happy for a little bit. Um,
Yeah.
the other thing is, and this is absolutely insane, man, on the Cleveland side, Quinshawn Judkins, their second round pick. He was one of the first picks of the second round, maybe even the first pick of the second round. He was a very early second round pick, is still unsigned.
I know. I know.
Yeah, that is bonkers, bro.
It's the
That is,
most Browns thing ever.
it really is. Their starting running back is Jerome Ford.
Yep. Still.
That's wild. And there's no sign that it's going to happen anytime soon. He has this massive legal issue going on, which I'm not even going to try and break down. But the reason he's unsigned is because his agent is still holding out for a guaranteed contract. Like a lot of the second round, that was a precedent set this year with a lot of second round draft picks. And there's no way I don't blame the Browns for not doing it with a guy who could very well be suspended for a big amount of time based on this legal thing. So it looks like that's not going anywhere anytime soon. We'll see where it lands. But yeah, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett out of the equation. By the way, he got traded to the Raiders not long before the season started. So your top three quarterbacks are Flacco and their third round pick Gabriel and their fifth round pick Sanders. Fascinating.
Yep. Interesting.
All right. Well, enough about that one. Now going to another interesting game. In the low end of the spectrum, the Raiders at the Patriots. A lot of people expect big things from the Patriots this year. I am not one of them.
I am not one of them either. I don't. I don't think I think they'll be improved,
Yes,
but not enough to really make a big mark in the season. And I'm actually going with the upset here. I'm going with Vegas, 27-17, and I can't wait to see Genty run. And we'll see if Drake May has an answer. I like the matchup. It is a close one. I came really close to picking New England, but I have a feeling about Vegas in this game. I don't think they're going to be very good either. But again, I think these are two teams that are kind of probably going to be close by the end of the year. And the last time I had this kind of matchup, I went with the home team, but this time I decided to go with the road team.
I love it, man. This is another one I considered for my upset pick. I considered picking the Raiders for half a second, but I didn't. I didn't have the nerve to do it like you did. I kudos to you for doing it because I could see it happening. Um, the old wily coach Pete Carroll makes his debut. That's a big factor in on your side of this equation for sure to me. Um, Amari Cooper signed with the Raiders too late in the preseason, which
Yep.
gives them a nice little receiving core. Fascinating team this year. I'm picking the Patriots 20-17. I don't love either team. Drake May, year two, can't wait to see it. He played pretty darn well in a pretty terrible situation last year with a horrible receiving core. He has a healthy Stephon Diggs, which I'm mildly surprised that Diggs is a go this early in the season after getting hurt last year.
Yep.
That's big for them. And Travion Henderson, fantasy
Yes.
people, he's going to be the guy. Ramondre Stevenson is no longer going to be the guy, even though he's listed as a starter early on. He's going to win this job very quickly, I think. Um,
Yep.
Big thing also on your side of the equation here for the Raiders to win. Christian Gonzalez is rapidly turning into one of the best players in the league that can't stay on the field. He is likely out this week, their stud corner. That's
Yeah.
big. That's huge. So yeah, I don't have a whole lot to add. I thought you broke it down pretty well, other than just a couple things I threw in there. And where did Joe land on this one?
He's on your side with New England, 21-12.
Okay. Yeah, that's a really interesting one, man. That's a big one if you pick that one. That's a ballsy pick. I like it. I thought about it and I didn't have the nerve. So kudos to you.
Yeah, we'll see.
Mo-
Kudos if I look like an idiot or not, which is possible.
I love it. I love it. I don't think it's a dumb pick. I really don't. I don't, even if it doesn't pan out, I don't think it's a dumb pick at all. Um, all right, now we're moving on to the 4 o'clockers. And a fascinating week one game here. The Niners at the Seahawks. Niners favored on the road, and the debut of Sam Darnold. in without the quarterback whisperer Kevin O'Connell? Is he the real deal, or is he a guy who plays with the quarterback whisperer and can't without him? I can't wait to find out.
Yeah, this is another one that I kind of went probably against the grain. I went with Seattle. I went with the home team here. San Francisco, I know they were hurt and all banged up last year. Um, and they're not, they're much healthier now. I still want to see them play well coming off of the bad year last year. This is a division game. This is a home game for Seattle. They're looking for something to prove as well. Darnold is also definitely got something to prove. I think he knows it. And I'm going with them. And probably a surprise pick. Probably a pick that you guys are probably both going to go San Francisco. I will say Joe picked San Francisco 24-20. So a close game, but he went with the Niners. I'm going Seattle in a close one as well, 22-19 Seahawks.
Okay, okay. All right, you can make a good case either way here. You really can. I don't think this is a no brainer by any means. San Francisco has a lot to prove after just absolutely taking a big fat crap last year. And injuries aside, I mean they went from one of the best teams in football to one of the worst teams in football, and it was astonishing to see. Sam Darnold, like you said, tons to prove. You know, he had an incredible season last year and then had a really mediocre playoff game where he threw a one touchdown, one interception, threw 25 for 40 for 245. A lot of it was garbage time. And when it mattered, he was bad. So I don't know what to make of him. I really don't. I don't know if this is big on Baker Mayfield like Renaissance or if it's a one and done. I really can't wait to find out. Seattle has an astonishingly weak receiving core beyond their top two guys, and you could even make a case it's astonishing behind the top guy, depending on how you feel about Cooper Kupp at this point in his career.
Right.
Because they have Jackson Smith and Jigba, who's a rising star and a heck of a player. Then they have a aging Cooper Kupp who couldn't stay healthy last year and hasn't for a couple of years now, who was once incredible and is now an old man. And then you know who they have behind them, man? I don't even know some of these names, and I'm one of these guys that knows rosters pretty well. You have Torrey Horton, Jake Bobo, Derek Young, and Cody White.
Who? I
Thank
haven't
you.
heard of any of those guys.
Me either. And Torrey Horton's their number 3. I don't even know who he is. Um,
With the way Cooper Cup can't stay healthy, he's going to be on the field.
exactly. Exactly. Their tight end is AJ Barner. Who?
Yeah.
So, so I don't even know. Now, by the way, Torrey Horton is a 5th-round draft pick this year out of Colorado State.
All right.
So, I mean, this is absolutely fascinating. So, just wait for Cooper Cup to go down, and then you're going to find out if you have anybody that can play behind Njigba. And Njigba would be a heck of a guy to have on your fantasy team because he's going to get about 7,000 targets this year, I think.
I agree.
So I don't know, man. I don't know what to make of this. Ayuk is out for a while for the Niners. He's not playing this week. And beyond that, their receiving core isn't awesome. They traded for Sky Moore a couple weeks before the season
Yeah.
started,
Don't they have Ricky Pearsall?
and I love him. Love him. He's has not become a stud yet, but I think he's this close to doing it, and he's going to have his shot early in the season. So
Yep.
fascinating, absolutely fascinating. So I'm taking the Niners in a freaking squeaker, 17-16.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I feel a little better about it because you and Joe both picked close games with the Niners winning. I picked a close game with Seattle winning. But if it's that close, it looks like either team can probably win.
I'm right there with you on that. Absolutely, absolutely. Now, moving on to a game that I is not going to be a squeaker in my mind. That is the Titans at the Broncos.
Yeah, this one was the easiest pick or one of the easiest picks of the week. Um,
If I was in a suicide league, Craig, this would have been my pick.
I think so. I think so. Um, Yeah, I love everything the Broncos are doing. I'm very high on them this year in general. Um, yeah, Sean Payton does what he does, and it worked again. He is just a really, really good head coach. Very interested to see if Bo Nix has the sophomore slump or not. But I think
Yeah,
that defense is really, really good. So I think it's going to be able to mask a sophomore slump by him, or at least make them acceptable, even if he does slump. Um, and it will be fun to see Tennessee see what Cam Ward can do. They've got some players as well. Calvin Ridley's there, and people very high on the year he might be able to have.
I'm one of them.
Right, but I'm just so high on the Broncos for the whole season in general. Um, I have them winning 30-20. Joe has it 37-15. I can't imagine you picking Tennessee, but go ahead. What do you got?
You are correct, sir. I have Denver 35-14. And the only thing I want to add to what you said, because you broke it down very well, is Denver did two position upgrades that I think will add immeasurably to their hopes of improving off of last season. One, they added Dre Greenlaw, who I think is one of the best linebackers in football when healthy, to a great defense. Big addition to an already great D, and they're unbelievably mediocre. Mediocre is about as good as you can put it. Their backfield from last season, they upgraded significantly with adding J.K. Dobbins, stealing him from the Chargers, by the way, and drafting R.J. Harvey in the second round, who everybody is high on. So I think
Yeah,
they
their backfield is impressive now.
it's so much better than last year, and they made their defense better with Greenlaw too. So I think that helps the Bo Nix. If there's going to be a sophomore slump, it helps that with the running game. So I really like Denver this year, and I love them to crush the Titans. Can't wait to see what Cam Ward's all about. But I don't think even if he's the second coming of Joe Montana, it's hard to believe that they can win this game.
Yep, yep. Denver's that good, I think.
I agree. I agree. And on the road, yeah, I just don't see it. All right. Moving on to arguably the game of the week. There's a couple contenders coming up for that here in the next couple games. Lions at Packers.
Okay. Well, the Lions, they've got a lot to prove because they've got what happened with the Eagles a couple years ago, where they have a new offensive and defensive coordinator. I think it will take time for them to figure it out, kind of like the Eagles, where it might take half the season before they really get going. If it doesn't, then Dan Campbell, I mean, he's a hell of a coach anyway. But you would have to give him a ton of credit for bringing it together early. I don't think it's going to happen that early. I think they're going to be scuffling along here in the early goings. And Green Bay is riding high off the Micah Parsons trade, although he's got the back injury. I don't know if he for sure playing.
I'll confirm while we're talking, but everything I saw indicated yes. It's funny because I really thought that back injury was going to disappear the second he got traded, and it didn't.
No, in fact, they're concerned about it. Anyway, so you got Green Bay at home, very good team, and now you've got Detroit coming in, new coordinators, scuffling a little bit, lost some players, not the same Detroit Lions team, I don't think, and I think Green Bay could come up and snatch this division from them. We'll have to see how it plays out at the end of the year. But this is going to be a lot more competitive in terms of Detroit's not going to go 14-3. This is going to be close. Chicago might be able to jump in there. Minnesota, they're all four of them are pretty close in my view. Um, but I think Green Bay might be the cream of the crop in this division, especially with Micah. And I'm going to go with them, but I'm going to go with them in a very, very tight one, 24-23.
Love it. Love it.
And
So the update
Joe went with them 30-27, also a very close game.
30. Okay. Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. I got excited because I found the Micah update. So it's there's nothing definite. but it sounds like he's going to play. The quote from the head coach Matt LaFleur is, "We'll see. He's doing everything in his power. He's rehabbing hard. We got to get through a couple practices to see how he responds. Certainly hopeful."
Okay.
Now that sounds, if you read the tea leaves, that sounds like he's going to play, but it's not nearly what you were hoping when they traded for him in week one. You know what I mean? So interesting. If he doesn't play, that changes everything. But so listen, I'm a little more high on the pack on the Lions this year, but it all depends, like you said, on these coordinators. This could be huge. It could be a massive just detriment to them. Now it's funny because as bad as that Eagles season was when they had the bad coordinators, what people forget is they were 10-1.
That's right. Yes, they were.
So it did not take a while to adjust. It took a while to stay good, and it didn't happen. They went from 10-1 and finished 11-6. So it was a weird. It was like a shaky 10-1, and then it just fell to pieces. So I'm really curious to see their new offensive coordinator is a guy named John Morton. Not Johnny Morton, the old Lions receiver, John Morton. He was their senior offensive assistant in 2022, and then he was the Broncos passing game coordinator the last two seasons. They bring him back to be the coordinator. Their defensive coordinator is Kelvin Shepard, who was their linebacker coach for the last two seasons. Now, I don't know, man. It's just too hard to say. We just have to see. But I have a hard time believing the offensive coordinator can fail that much when he has a really solid quarterback in Jared Goff, who has
Oh
become
yeah.
one of the best quarterbacks in the league, despite everything I thought he was going to be 4 years ago. And a 1-2 punch that is the best in football with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. So I don't see how if he's got to really suck to fail with that offense. So I know the Packers are favored in this game, but I'm going Lions. This is one of the upsets I pick. I'm going 26-20, and I still pick the Lions to win the division.
All right. Yeah, it could definitely play out like that for sure.
But boy, I could fall on my
You're
face with that with these new
you're
coordinators. We'll
right.
see.
You're right about Philadelphia. When I was mentioning the Eagles, they were just shaky, right? They
Shaky.
weren't. They were a shaky 10 and like they were 10-1 and they were doing well, obviously.
It was the
But
shakiest 10-1 you ever want to see.
right, okay, so that's that. All right, maybe in my mind I was thinking there was more losses in there, but I do remember the last 5 games was just a disaster.
Brutal. And they fired those guys during those last 5 or 6 games. And or no, I'm sorry, they fired the defense coordinator, replaced him with Matt Patricia, who had no chance to succeed under that circumstance anyway, coming in at the last second. And they just fell on their faces towards the end. It was epically bad. It was just epically bad in a weird way because they were 10-1. It was crazy.
Yeah. But it worked out.
um,
Obviously, you got the right guys now.
Yeah, it worked out in the end. Thank goodness. And I mean, enough said. Enough said. I could go off on that for a while, but I won't. So, all right. Moving on. Another potential game of the week is the Texans at the Rams.
Right, and we did confirm off air before we started that Stafford is playing.
Yes, huge, obviously massive for the Rams.
Massive, because if he plays, they are a legitimate Super Bowl contender in my view,
Mm-hmm.
and I have them going to the Super Bowl under the assumption he'll play. So if I have them going to the Super Bowl and they're at home and he is playing, I got to go with them. But Houston's defense is no joke. And I'm very interested to see if CJ Stroud can bounce back to his rookie year status because he definitely had the sophomore slump last year. I love Nico Collins. His health is paramount because last year he got hurt and that really hurt them.
Big time.
Um, that's another reason why Stroud struggled because his receivers were in and out all day. Like the other kid too, Tank Dell was hurt. Like
Stephon Diggs, too. All three of them.
yeah, all three of them. So he didn't have he really had a rough go last year. Their offensive line's not that great either, but their defense is so good. And in their running game, they still have Mixon, right?
Yes, but he is out for weeks. He's on that whatever it is, the IR or whatever, where you're out for at least 4 weeks. So guess who the starting running back is for the Houston Texans in week one?
It's not Damian Pierce, is it?
It is Nick Chubb, baby.
Oh, Nick Chubb and Pierce will probably be splitting carries.
Not if it goes the way the Texans want to. He is the guy.
Oh, all right, all right. Well, regardless, I'm going Rams at home, 23-20, in a close one because I don't know how much they're going to be able to score against that really good Houston defense.
Yeah, that's fair.
And Joe agrees. He went the Rams 24-17.
Okay, okay. I'm in the same ballpark as you guys. The biggest factor for me with the Texans and why I and this was my upset pick that I circled before I went with the Chargers. By the way, this was it.
Yep,
And I still wouldn't mind going with it honestly, but the reason I hesitate with them is because they did nothing almost to improve their terrible offensive line in the offseason. And they traded their best tackle to the freaking Commanders, Laramie Tunsil. So I don't I that makes me really hesitate on the whole Texan season this year because of their lack of attention to their offensive line. Um, I like the Rams if Matt Stafford is healthy. I like the Rams a lot this year, and I'm going to take them, but I'm taking them in a close one because I still do like the Texans because of that D. 20-18 Rams.
okay. Yep, 2018. That makes sense. So
All
yeah,
right.
low kind of on the lower scoring side.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and we'll because of that D, and we'll see where it all pans out, man. But yeah, I just there's a lot of ifs and buts with both of these teams, given Stafford's health and the Texans' offensive line. But they could both be heavy playoff contenders when it's all said and done.
Yep.
All right, now moving on to the night games, we got talk about game of the week candidates. This is the big one right here, Sunday night, Ravens at Bills.
All right. Well, Buffalo is also my Super Bowl pick. This is going to be a fight. I love this game. I cannot wait to watch this game. Um, yeah, playoff preview, possibly AFC Championship preview, all of that. Every year, it's just these two in Kansas City, and there's just a dogfight, and I'm ready for it. Buffalo at being the home team again. I think these teams are very, very close. Last two MVPs are going to be on the field. And I got Buffalo winning the Super Bowl this year, I think, right? I think at the very
I
least I
think
have them going. I
I
think I
think you
have them
had them
winning
winning
it.
over the Rams. I think.
Yeah, them in the over the Rams. And I've actually seen quite a few people picking Buffalo. Um, so I think this might be the year. And if that's the case, and they're at home, I'm going Buffalo 27-20. Joe has them 30-24, but Baltimore is his upset pick.
Oh, love it. Love it. Yep. All right. Okay. So I was back and forth on this one. And then I looked at the injury report. The Ravens
Yep.
aren't missing anybody of significance. The Bills are missing Curtis Samuel, their big or defensive tackle signing, Larry Ogunjobi, who they
Yep.
got from the Steelers, who's a very solid player. He's suspended for 6 games. And their starting linebacker, Shaq Thompson, is out. And their first round cornerback, Maxwell Harrison, is on the IR. So I decided to go with the Ravens 31-30.
Nice.
And man, this is going to be a fun game. These are two outstanding teams. I think they are clearly the class of the AFC, these two teams, with maybe Cincinnati can get in the mix, but I don't think they have the defense to get fully in the mix with these two teams. We'll see. Their offense is so good, maybe they can anyway. But I think this is, and maybe the Chiefs are back. Maybe the Ravens or not the Chargers and the Broncos can get there. But going into the season, these two teams are the class of the AFC to me, and I can't wait to see who wins. Bills have the home field advantage, but I'm going to go Ravens because of the injuries, 31-30.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. I cannot wait for this game. It's gonna be fun to review, fun to watch, and then fun to review next week.
No doubt, man. No doubt. By the way, if Derrick Henry gets something like 1,350 yards this year, he passes 7 guys and moves into the top 10 all time in rushing yardage.
Oh yeah, that makes sense, and he'll definitely do that.
If he's healthy, it's easy.
Yeah, that's a lock.
Love it. Love it. All right, man. And our final game of the week, and it's an interesting one, not quite as much of an awesomeness as the last one, but still a very interesting game. Vikings at Bears.
It is an interesting game. Um, I don't know. This was a tough one to pick because Chicago's kind of they've got a lot of hype this year, um, but I don't know. Minnesota is just solid as a rock. We have to see. This is going to come down to is JJ McCarthy the real deal or not?
Absolutely.
If he's the real deal, Chicago could still win, but if he's the real deal, it's going to be a lot more difficult, and Minnesota would probably be more likely to win. But I got to see it first. I know Chicago is also, kind of lifted up there, and people are really high on them, and I got to see it as well from them. So when it comes down to that, something like that, they're the home team. I just went with the home team, and I went with the Bears, and I went 20-14. But Joe does not agree with me. He went Minnesota 24-21.
Okay. Okay. Well, there's a couple things going on here. Everything you said, spot on. The Jordan Addison is suspended for 3 games. They do not have him in this game. They traded for Adam Thielen about a week ago. So Thielen at 150 years old is back. Still, he can still play when he's healthy, but he is dinged up a lot. But he's healthy for week 1, it looks like, so he can help him out in week 1. Um, their safety Harrison Smith looks like he's not going to play. That's big. Andrew Van Ginkel, the revelation as a free agent signing last year, big time player for them. Questionable. If he plays, it's big. If he doesn't, it's huge. Um, Bears don't have a whole lot of injury issues. I'm going Bears 27-23. And the other thing I want to say about the Bears, they have done as much in one off season. They have done as much to improve the prospects of a young quarterback as any team I remember ever seeing. And I don't think that's an overstatement. They already had DJ Moore and Rome Odunze. They added Colston Loveland in the first round, arguably
Yep.
the top tight end prospect coming out. They added Luther Burden in this early second round, who a lot of people had as a first round prospect. Not only that, but they upgraded 3 spots on their offensive line and clear upgrades, big upgrades. So they did as much to improve the chances of Caleb Williams in about 3 or 4 months as any team I've ever seen in all my years of watching the NFL. If this dude can't do it this year, he's not a player. And I think he is. So I'm going Bears 27-23. I think they are a team to reckon with this year. We'll see. It's a lot. I just can't wait to see where it all shakes out because this division could go a lot of different ways, my man.
Absolutely. Totally agree. Totally agree. And I'm looking forward to a lot of games, obviously.
Me too. Me too. Well, we did it, my man. We are back and we got all our picks in the books.
Yes, we do. And remember, guys, next week we will be back and review all these games, review our picks, and let you know how we did. And then we'll preview week 2. And we are rolling. It is rolling. The game literally is tomorrow.
Can't wait, my man. Can't wait. Starting off with our guys, Birds Cowboys, week 1. Let's go. Thursday night. It's
Yep.
not in some foreign land either. Thank goodness for the Eagles this year.
Right, right. That Friday game, I guess that's going to be every year.
It looks like it. Yeah, it was Eagles Packers there last year, and the Eagles won. But I'm convinced it's a struggle for teams when they have to do that. Man, it really is. So, and it's not a home game. So whatever team gets that, which it was the Eagles last year, it's the Chargers this year. They basically lose a home game. You know.
Right, right. Well, now with the 17 games, some teams have 9, some teams have 8.
And I didn't even look into that. I would assume that the Eagles still got 8 home games last year, and the Chargers will too. It would only be fair to do it that way, but I don't know that for a fact. And the NFL isn't always fair when it seems obvious. So I'm going to have to research that. We'll have an answer for you next week, people.
All right. Well, that's going to do it, guys. Thank you for joining us. Al, do you have anything else more to add?
No, it's good to be back with you, my man. Very good. I love this. Love this doing this pod with you, and can't wait for the season to start.
Yep. We'll see if we can get some guests here and there. But regardless, me and you will be here every single week, no matter what. And that's going to do it, guys. Until next time, I will see you later.